Interesting. I didn't know that it was happening before, that they were trying to shut it down with the fire department and others, but it's the comedy show before the comedy show.
Government of Israel pretends they didn't know about it. But 2 weeks before, October the 7th, Netanyahu was boasting with a map of all of Israel from the river to the sea. Do you really believe, Mr. Pressman, that the Mossad is that stupid?
Ridiculous.
It's true, it's documented.
30,000 some people have died so far.
Where did that number come from?
Al Jazeera?
Where did that number come from?
Al Jazeera or TikTok? Do you watch the people in Gaza right now?
Oh, TikTok is your source of information?
Do you have any information on what's going on in Gaza?
David Menzies for Rebel News here in downtown Toronto. And folks, I'm standing outside the Yuck Yucks Stand-Up Comedy Club, which is hosting tonight a show called Stand Up for Israel. And here's the thing, it has been met by a demonstration of the pro-Hamas types. They are describing this protest as genocide is no joke. You know, I agree with that. So what is their stance on what happened in Israel on October 7th? That sounds like garden variety genocide to me. I mean, after all, the biggest massacre of Jews since the Holocaust on a single day. But I guess they're talking about something else. Prior to the demonstration, the pro-Hamas types tried to shut down the Yuck Yucks Comedy Club via the fire department. I'm not kidding. On social media, they were putting out posts saying to people, complain about a lack of fire extinguishers, complain about the building being overcrowded. I guess it didn't work. I guess the fire department isn't going to do their dirty work for them. Considerable police presence here today. Why don't we wade into this protest and, try to make sense of it all. Folks, I'm with LJ and Ali, and they are here to actually take in the show. The only problem is you can't get through the doors. How do you like that, guys? You want to see some comedy? I guess you want to stand up for Israel, but as of right now, you're prevented from getting in the club.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. I didn't know that it was happening before, that they were trying to shut it down with the fire department and others, but it's the comedy show before the comedy show.
What about the show itself? What can we expect to see in there? I think there's a group of Jewish comedians, and right now there's nothing funny about being out in the cold and not being allowed in. But what do you think? How do you think the show is going to go, assuming you can get in at some point?
Oh, it's going to be a great show. You know,
Okay.
Jews and comedy, they go hand in hand. Everybody knows that, right? All around the world, you see the connection between...
Sorry, Ali, we're being interrupted by this lovely lady here. Sorry, ma'am, I couldn't hear you. What are you talking about, the October 7th incident in Israel?
They are committing a genocide.
Hamas is, yes, I totally agree with that.
Hamas is a resistance group.
Oh, is that right? Okay, it's recognized as a terrorist group.
Establishment of Islamic society.
It is a resistance group because their land has been occupied.
Leave their charter.
Their land has been... Israel is a Zionist state. Zionism is terrorism. Just answer that question was yes or no. Was Hamas around 75 years ago? Was Hamas around 75 years ago? No. I'm asking. Yes
The
or no?
Most High gave this land to the Jewish people. We go back to the time of Moses. How far back do you want to go? Do you have no respect for the Most High? This land was given to the Jewish people. That is the way it is. It is not a place of an Islamic caliphate.
Ma'am, how do you fare as a member of the LGBT community in Gaza? What would happen to you if you were openly lesbian or trans?
Anybody in Gaza would be killed not because of their sexual orientation, but because they were Palestinian. Get that through your thick skull.
We have a group here. It's called Queer and Trans People for Palestinian Liberation. And yet, how do you fare as a queer person or a trans person in Gaza? Queer as in free Palestine. Hey guys, are you guys queers or... So another one, guys, that, again, I ask, how do you fare as a queer person in Palestine? Death sentence. And yet we have here, basically, chickens for Colonel Sanders. Yuck Yucks equals friends of genocide. Ma'am, why are you wearing a face diaper? I thought COVID was over. I'm interviewing a sign. No, I gotta tell you folks, in a way it's kind of good we can't get into the comedy club. I don't think there's anything more funny than what I'm witnessing here. Oh yeah, of course, it's unintentional humor, but as long as we're laughing, well, that's the main goal, isn't it? All children are our children. Free Palestine. What does that mean, ma'am? No, I'm interviewing a sign again. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. You know, ma'am, aren't you embarrassed to openly call for genocide on the streets of our great dominion?
No justice, no peace! No justice, no peace! No justice, no peace!
There you go, folks. This is a call for genocide. How you doing, sir? Genocide is not a laughing matter. Oh, is this about what happened on October 7th in Israel?
We will never know what happened on October the 7th because the government of Israel pretends they didn't know about it. But 2 weeks before October the 7th, Netanyahu was boasting with a map of all of Israel from the river to the sea. Do you really believe, Mr. Pressman, that the Mossad is that stupid?
So you're saying that was not Hamas terrorists?
Coming for a year, and they used it to promulgate the biggest ethnic cleansing that we've ever seen, bigger than 1948.
What was the biggest?
If you want to believe that, go and look at the rally that the ultra-right Zionists had in Jerusalem last weekend, dancing in the streets that they were going to drive the Palestinians out.
I guess, ma'am, if you can't articulate the reason for your protest, you really don't have much of a position.
It's really disappointing to see. You know what? To see all this different cultures and everyone coming together from all over, and hardly any of them are even from here. And they want to fight and burn Canadian flags, but they wanted to come here to be in this country of freedoms, right? But yet they cause trouble there.
Right now we're here to do a comedy show to raise some funds for the Israeli Defense Force because they're defending the Middle East, not these people. This has nothing to do with Palestinians. This has to do with a terrorist organization. It's ignorance, and I'm ashamed to say these are Canadians. How could Canadians think this way? But they're getting paid.
You ask these guys if any one of them have been to Israel. I've been there 60 times, and the way they treat the Palestinians is beautiful, okay? I was born in an Arab country, and I had to leave because I was Jewish. More Arabs have died at the hands of Arabs than any other nation. Do you know that? 1 million Arabs were killed. 400,000 in Yemen were murdered. Are these people complaining about that? No. Only when a Jew kills an Arab, they care. But when an Arab kills an Arab, they don't give a shit.
And
more Arabs have killed Arabs than anyone.
you know, folks, don't you find it perversely ironic that these people, the pro-Hamas demonstrators, they're all about denouncing so-called occupation, yet it is them that are occupying the sidewalk. They're blocking the door to the comedy club, and here you have customers. They want to get in, they want to take in a show, and they're standing out in the cold, and the police are doing nothing to facilitate their entrance into the club. How do you make sense of that? And again, I ponder, it's the 2-year anniversary we're coming up to of the trucker convoy in Ottawa. You had people arrested, people put in solitary, bank accounts frozen for a peaceful protest, and meanwhile these people chant genocide and death and advocate for vandalism of Jewish businesses just because the business is owned by a Jew, and nothing to see here. I guess the good news is I don't see any delivery of Timbits and coffee, at least. You approached me and you said, are you a doctor, a lawyer, or a healthcare worker? What is it? How much are you being paid to be here?
But I'm not being paid anything at all.
We know people are paying these demonstrators.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It's true, it's documented.
30,000 some people have died so far.
Where did that number come from?
Al Jazeera?
Where did that number come from?
Zero or TikTok? Do you watch the people in Gaza right now?
Oh, TikTok is your source of information?
Do you have any information on what's going on in Gaza?
That number came from. That number has come from Hamas, correct?
Oh, come on.
Well, who does it come from, sir?
You scare me.
When you say what is so funny about genocide, is that about what happened to innocent Israelis on October 7th?
Generally, it's about all genocide. I have a problem with genocide in general, and I don't think that raising funds for another country's army is really the answer to what we're actually asking for is peace, right? The whole goal of trying to end these conflicts is peace. So the idea of raising funds for a foreign military, or even just joking about it in a land that is still occupied, it's not very funny.
I think most of the people, your co-demonstrators, they're only talking about what's happening in Gaza. They're making excuses for what's happened in Israel. And ma'am, that was the largest slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust. That's kind of genocide-y to me.
I think it's a massacre, absolutely. And there's no justification for any bloodshed whatsoever, right? Or any terrorism in general. I don't think that the result of more death should be more death. I don't think that genocide is the answer, right?
Well, folks, I never thought I would see the need for police to give an escort for patrons trying to get into a comedy club. And it's also perversely amusing. I can't help but notice that the first two letters in Hamas are H-A, as in ha. But there's nothing funny about this motley crew. Then again, the first three letters in Hamas is H-A-M, ham. That's another way to describe a really bad actor. Look around, lots of bad actors here. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Please go to our website, CanadaStandsWithIsrael.com. That's CanadaStandsWithIsrael.com. Sign our petition, and if you're able to, kindly make a donation.